You're familiar, I would expect, with the financial report that is produced by the Treasury on an annual basis?
I am.
And you've read the 2023 report?
I've seen highlights of the 2023 report.
What would you say is the outcomes over the next 75 years?
It depends on if it is a baseline, which is baseline based, not assuming the president's budget is enacted, is going to show something similar to our baseline budget.
Well, let me show.
Where debt will.
I'm sorry.
That debt will increase.
Yeah.
If we don't do things like the president has presented in his budget.
Okay, we'll get to that. Let me show you this chart from that report showing debt to GDP over the next 75 years. This is a long-term outlook showing that debt to GDP will go from its current level of 97% to about 500% in the next 75 years. And in the report, the Treasury, your administration, says, and you can put that away now, but if changes in fiscal policy are not so, I'm sorry, it says that, first of all, the projections in the report show that current policy is not sustainable, says that multiple times. I think that's the underlying conclusion to be drawn from that. Absolutely not sustainable. And it talks about the urgency of addressing it sooner rather than later, says if changes are not so abrupt as to slow economic growth and those policy changes are adopted earlier, then the required changes will be smaller to return the government to a sustainable fiscal path. Couldn't agree more with what they're saying here. What are the drivers of that increase in debt? What programs?
So, Mr. Smucker, you know the majority of government outlays are in what we call entitlement programs.
Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
Yeah.
You said earlier that your budget would create solvency for Social Security without needing to cut benefits. That is not true. And in fact, I'd like to submit for the record, Mr. Chairman, a report from the Tax Foundation showing that if we indeed did what the Biden administration is recommending, raising taxes for those over $400,000 as outlined in this budget, it would raise about $3 trillion over a decade. The shortfall in Social Security and Medicare.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The shortfall over a 30-year period in these programs, as outlined in this report from your administration, shows that that shortfall is about $78 trillion. Raising revenue does not come close to fixing the problem long term. Do you agree with that?
Mr. Smucker, I think you are using the cost over a longer period.
Yeah, but it's 78 trillion compared to 3 trillion in
over
revenue.
A different time frame.
Yeah, 10 over 3 times, but 78 trillion is far more than 3 times. It will not. The facts are what they are. Raising revenue will not be able to fix the problem. It's why I agree with Scott Peterson that we need to have a real conversation with the American people about how we fix this going forward. It will not work. It's not sustainable. You can't tax your way out of this. It's impossible. The numbers are what they are. And that's why I believe a fiscal commission is so critical, so that we can come together, administration, members of Congress, bipartisan, bicameral, and have a real discussion. I think the American people are willing to make sacrifices. They're willing to step up when they understand that we have to do it or the alternative is really bad. So I was disappointed that the Fiscal Commission was not included in the latest package, and I was disappointed that the Biden administration does not support it. And I'd like to hear from you why that may be and whether there would ever be a time when the Biden administration would support this kind of discussion that we need to have.
Mr. Smucker, probably for different reasons. The Biden administration has issues. The Republican leadership also have shown issues with the Fiscal Commission of the nature that came out of committee, probably for different reasons than we do. Our concern lies exactly your line of questioning. The one thing on the table would be benefit cuts. Not some of the tax proposals that we've talked to here, not asking high-income owners. It would be borne on the backs of those who paid into the system and rely on this program to retire in peace.
But your administration produced a report that says this is not sustainable over a long period of time.
We do believe that taxing high-income earners would add to the solvency.
It does not make it solvent, not true. I hope we can continue to have the discussion, and I hope we can get to the point where the American people have a better understanding of the situation that we're in. What you're saying today does not add to that, and I think, I hope that we can get to a point where we can have a real conversation about this, and I think, again, a fiscal commission would be a really great way to do that. Thank you.
I think the